Hello and welcome back to JRDM. It's been a while, hasn't it? I've just been busy with a couple of bookings, but I'm back. The summer of 2023 hasn't been too great on the film industry. High budget movies such as Indiana Jones 5 and The Flash, which were supposed to create box office records, but instead barely managed to recuperate their marketing budget, let alone their production costs. The movie industry needed a miracle, and that's exactly what it got with the releases of Barbie and Oppenheimer. Two magnificent films in two totally different genres, and I saw those movies back to back. Those 5 hours just flew by. And yes, I enjoyed Barbenheimer, the viral marketing campaign that took over all social media. But today's scene review is going to concentrate on Oppenheimer. The story revolves around the scientist J. Robert Oppenheimer, played by Cillian Murphy, who is also considered the father of the atomic bomb. We follow his life through courtrooms, labs, romantic liaisons and military dark sides, whilst in a race against foreign enemies to see who can come up with the world's first atomic bomb. With a handful of extraordinary stars such as Robert Downey Jr., Emily Blunt, Matt Damon and Florence Pugh, to name a few, director Christopher Nolan keeps you engaged at all times with drama, action and twists and turns. There is one particular scene I do want to talk about. It's the testing of the first nuclear weapon. Now, I watched this movie in IMAX to get the full experience that the director wanted us to get. Actually, the best experience would be IMAX 70mm, but I couldn't get my hands on any tickets in the first week, which is a bummer. But even in digital IMAX, the nuclear bomb testing scene was just absolutely mind-blowing. It just blows you away with its realism. Like the sound, the lighting, the visuals on screen, the tension leading up to the actual explosion. The actual explosion is on screen for less than a minute, but the tension leading up to the detonation, it keeps you on the edge of your seat. Everyone in the audience with me knew exactly what was going to happen, an explosion, because it's history and it was in the trailer. But the auditorium was eerily quiet leading up to it because it was just beautiful. And that is what I want to recreate, the Trinity nuclear test. With this being a relatively new movie, there wasn't much in terms of behind the scenes or making of content, so using what I could, I sketched out a rough diagram of how I thought the set should be laid out and listed what I needed. Firstly, I needed a desert, or the miniature version of it. So I had my outdoor set, put some sand on it, and that was it. Set done. Next, I needed to actually dress the set with everything that was seen on screen in the movie. Things I'll need off the top of my head: a bomb, obviously, a structural tower type thing so the bomb can drop, and a release mechanism at the top as well, just so I'd have to be in the shot and drop the bomb. A little bomb shelter for little Lego Oppenheimer to watch his explosion from. And that's it. Oh no, I need some LED strip lights as well. They were in the movie so that planes could fly overhead and do some practice tests or something. It's in the movie. But yeah, there's two strips of LEDs right next to the tower, and I think that would look quite cool. I think that would add to the realism of the set. Oh, and I also need some explosives of some sort so that I can make the tower go up in flames. Now, I want to make this absolutely clear. I have over 10 years experience handling explosives and making sure that all the safety precautions are undertaken to make sure the set is as safe as possible. Don't try this at home. First things first, building the tower. Now, I could have just super glued some steel poles together and called it a day, but then I had a brainwave. Why don't I break out my Connects? For those of you who don't know what Connects is, it's a construction toy with all these little sticks and connectors that can be used to build anything from a submarine to the Empire State Building. So it's perfect for what I want to achieve here. Not entirely sure what sort of scale I'm going for, but I'm just going to wing it. Next thing I needed was a bomb, and as you can see from these actual images, the bomb is actually ball-shaped, so that's what I went for. I had this spare pool ball lying around and just had to make sure that it drops through the tower without hitting the sides. Perfect. Now with the bomb and the tower complete, I can now work on the release mechanism at the top of the tower. This looks like it's going to work. And with the use of some clear plastic wire, I can control the drop and not being shot. A quick coat of silver paint on both the bomb and the tower, and these items were ready to be placed on the set. Next thing was to make a rudimentary bomb shelter for Mini Oppenheimer here, so that he can view the explosion. From the get-go, I did want to incorporate a little bit of Barbie into this shoot, and surprisingly, in the Connects box there was also my sister's old construction toy equivalent. It's basically some vibrant plastic plates with colourful connectors attaching them all together. I can't for the life of me remember what this is called because it's been over 20 years since she probably played with this, so if you know what it is, put it in the comments below. There was even some clear plates so that Mini Oppenheimer here could see the explosion and be protected. Then with a little bit of digging around in my prop shelf, I found a little control panel to put inside the bomb shelter and also a little spotlight as well. Whilst digging around, I also found some LED light strips that I had originally purchased for my first car to make it look cooler, but looking back at it now, I'm actually quite embarrassed. But we all do stupid stuff when we're younger, don't we? All I had to do now was put the bomb shelter into the set, put the spotlight facing the tower, and then also plant the light strips. Looks like we're all good to go here, but before I show you the final cut of my film, I'm going to talk briefly about the explosive side of things. I had to carry out a little test explosion in my garden to make sure that the final result wasn't too big for the set. This is a test I carried out with some explosives and 100 millilitres of petrol. Safe to say this is going to add a sense of realism to my shots that I would not be able to achieve with CGI. For this shoot I used the Canon 90D filming at 4K 24 frames per second and Full HD 120 frames per second. I also used the Fujifilm X-S10 that you can see behind me here to shoot at 240 frames per second in Full HD, and I also used the Samsung Galaxy S9 Plus to shoot the super slow motion at 1000 frames per second. In the actual movie you have some extreme close-ups of what seems to be the initial detonation of the bomb. It seems like they're showing the chain reaction that causes the bigger explosion through some sparks and minute bangs. I'm guessing this is meant to represent atoms bashing into each other, but don't quote me on that. This was a little bit difficult to film. By using my Fujifilm X-S10, shooting at 240 frames per second and a macro lens converter, I filmed extreme close-ups of explosive compounds combusting. Again, I have protective eyewear, I have plenty of ventilation, and I have masks, so do not try this at home. Right, I think that's the making of covered, so time for the main event. I present to you Oppenheimer, the Trinity Test. I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I did, because who doesn't like slow motion explosions? If you want to see my other videos, click here. Make sure you like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Thank you for watching.